What's happening in Central Oregon?
What's happening?
That's where we're at. That's what you're listening to right now. Hey everybody, my name is John. This is my lovely, beautiful wife, Shannon.
Hello.
You gotta say something. Not
You gotta
just
say
wave.
something. I'm still waking up.
If they're just listening, they can't see you wave. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. We're going to talk about all things Central Oregon, from recreation to real estate. But really, in this particular podcast, we talk about development news, economic news, business news, just stuff that's relevant to the people who live here, or the people who are thinking of living here.
Yeah.
So
the things
welcome.
that matter.
The things that matter. That's right. The things. Well, at least the things we think matter. Right.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get started today. We're going to talk about 6 or 7 different stories. First one talking about a biomass plant potentially coming to Prineville.
Biomass.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. What that is, and people in Prineville aren't exactly happy about it. EDCO, Economic Development of Central Oregon, reveals the largest private employers in Bend.
Ooh.
Do you have any idea?
Oh, well, I haven't read the article, so let's say, let's see here. I would say St. Charles.
Maybe.
Oh, dang it. What's the...
Well, don't worry, we're going to talk about it.
No. I want to bet.
Ooh,
here.
I know what you're going to do. I know what you're going to guess.
I'm guessing right now. What's the dang... They took over the Walmart. I can't think of the name of it.
Basics.
I know. I can see
Basics. You can see the logo?
I can see the logo, but I couldn't. I was like...
Clean your...
Oh, you're not even going to let me... And Bachelor.
Clean your yard debris.
Oh.
That's the next story.
Yeah. Pick up your yard.
Pick up your yard. They sent a letter out about that, and it's got some people a little alarmed, a little fired up. We're also going to talk about the Jackstraw kind of big condo unit. It's a big building.
It's a beast.
Lots of condos coming there, and how the city or the developers are actually think it's going to help the market here, which is... even though it's not affordable. Anyway, we'll talk about that. There's a new Northeast Roundabout coming soon. It'll be closed. They'll be working on that. We'll talk about that really quickly. The Bend transportation fee is going up. That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a wild one. It's not a tax, though. That's what they say. And then lastly, this is fun. You remember the blue bird scooters
Oh, yes.
that were around? We're going to talk about that. We've got new ones coming, actually.
New ones.
New scooters.
Are they blue?
Coming. I don't know. I don't think so. So let's go ahead and get into our top story today. Well, not our top story. Sorry, excuse me. Our first story. Prineville residents push back on potential UGB expansion for the biomass plant. Now,
What is biomass?
what is biomass? That is the question. So the truth is, biomass is kind of like it's kind of like a coal burning plant where instead of burning coal, they're burning biomass. So Prineville wants to annex 671 acres beyond its urban growth boundary so that a private developer can build a woody biomass power plant on an old mined-out gravel pit.
Sorry.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So they're going to create a biomass plant in this old gravel pit. Now, opponents counter that the biomass emissions would cancel out the solar gains. They think this is dirty air, right? So they don't want that. I mean, I wouldn't want
Who wants that in our town?
Yeah, and Prineville's a small town, right? And so they think that it's going to kind of stink up the town, and they have to put it in town. They can't put it outside of town. That's what they're seeking to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So people want to send. They're like, hey, send it out there near all the near all of the data centers. But apparently they have to bring it inside the city, 671 acres inside or outside the urban growth boundary, but still kind of inside the city area.
And why is that?
I don't know. That's just what
is that
they
for
have
like
to
a
do.
tax rebate or something, or
Probably. So anyway, residents are up in arms. They don't want this mine site to be converted to a biomass plant. It's too close to the city. They quote one guy here that lives next to the proposed site, Kevin Smith. If they think they need a biomass plant, go put it up the hill by Facebook where there aren't people, which I would kind of agree with. So that's something that we're tracking. We'll see how this actually pans out because it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, Prineville is a very small community, and I don't know that you'd want to put a plant right in the middle where everybody's at. At the same time, we've also talked about this plenty of times. We do need more power here in Central Oregon, and so it's one of those things like, well, it's always a trade-off, and we'll talk more about power later on in the show. But But it's just one of those weird things. Like, how do you balance that, right? All right. Let's see. Next article. So, Central Oregon's job juggernauts. The top 50 firms now own 21% of the workforce. Boom or bubble? Interesting. So, EDCO reveals a 2025 list of largest private employers in Central Oregon. Check it out. Here's what we have. I like. You were good. You got Bassex. You got St. Charles. You got Mount Bachelor. Les Schwab. So, number one, Les Schwab Health Systems.
Number one was St. Charles.
I said Les Schwab Health Systems.
Oh, you said number one.
I'm totally backwards. Number one, St. Charles Health System, the hospital.
5,000.
5,188 people it's employed.
But that's like St. Charles and Redmond, St. Charles and...
Yes.
Yeah, like they have multiple locations and stuff. It's not just Bend. Yeah.
Exactly.
Brightwood Corporation.
Yeah, how about that?
What is
Interesting.
that?
Oh, like lumber.
Oh, yeah.
Literally lumber.
Okay.
But yeah, window and door components. Yep.
Gotcha.
Moldings and millwork. Yeah, excellent. So that's great. It's nice that we still have something like that locally, you know what I mean? Where we can get wood products here locally. Then, of course, we have Mount Bachelor. Brightwood's number 2.
Yeah.
They employ a lot of people here. Mount Bachelor's number 2. Obviously, we know about that. Is it Bassex or Bassex?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I don't either. But it's a massive building.
Because when you're talking about fishing, they're bass. When you're talking about music, it's bass. It's spelled the same way. And in this case, they just took the last S off of it and put an X on it. So they're actually an incredible company because they do health. Basically, they do modular, almost like triage units, like modular units that are sterile for health care, for hospitals and surgeries and stuff like that.
Or like natural disaster type stuff, too.
Yeah, they can basically bring in a modular unit that is completely sterilized and stuff. It's that, among other things. They do lots of things. Yeah. But I can't believe that company has gotten huge.
Yeah, they just keep on adding more to the buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Redmond Walmart was right there in the corner of Redmond as you're heading towards Bend. This was, 20 years ago, I want to say. Was it 20? Whoa, that was a long time ago. And, Basic Solutions bought the old Walmart building because they moved across town and went into Walmart. And it was kind of a weird thing. Like, what is this company and what makes them think that they can
I thought it was like a call center at first. Yeah. Like, I was like, what does that company do?
What are they doing with a big old super Walmart like building like that? And now it is just an incredible campus. That's huge. Okay. And then 5, of course, Les Schwab, HQ, and Tire Centers. I guess they're grouping everybody together. Les Schwab's are all over the Northwest. It's a tire retailer. Yeah. Right. Tires, rims, the whole thing. And then, of course, their headquarters are here in Central Oregon, here in Bend. They used to be in Prineville. They're based out of Prineville.
That's where they started. Yeah.
So those are the top employers here in Central Oregon. It basically says here, the rest of the article says that fresh EDCO data shows that the 50 largest private employers now hire 23,000 people, roughly 21% of the region's entire non-farm payroll of 111,000 people. It's interesting. This makes Cushion's Bend Redmond against tourism swings. That's the problem that we've had here in Central Oregon forever, is that it's such a touristy area that, if the economy goes down, there's nowhere for anyone else to work if people aren't traveling here. Yeah. So usually vacations are something that, people cut out early on if they need to, and if the economy starts struggling, and so then our economy locally start struggling as well. But again, because of this new EDCO data, and the city of Bend has their story 2 weeks ago that we talked about. Yeah,
they're attracting more companies to here, and plus also, remote workers and stuff like that. It is stabilizing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So very good to know. So if you're planning on moving here, you're not sure about the economy, it's definitely getting stronger and more stable because of these jobs that we're starting to create now. It's very pro-business here right now. It seems like a lot of small business startups are happening. Moving on. Cut it or get fined. Bend's flammable vegetation crackdown ignites panic, pruning frenzy, and a $750 a day threat. What are we talking about?
Because of the LA fires, they're like, everybody needs to do maintenance on their yards. And in order to mitigate against fire risk, which is really interesting. I think some people, it would be good for them to maybe...
Depending on the neighbor.
Yeah.
Some of them need to trim their vegetation for sure.
Well...
So,
or water.
Here's something that's interesting. We were talking about it within my government affairs committee at the Cascades East Association of Realtors. I'm the chair of the government affairs committee there, and the Association of Realtors wants to know if we should create some sort of a disclaimer to send out to all of our clients that we're working with. A notice similar to the one the city of Bend handed out that just says that, hey, we're letting you know that if you're buying a house that's got some vegetation, like, you're responsible for trimming that up.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, the city of Bend just did that. Like, they sent out the letter. I don't know that we need to send out the letter. Second of all, they're threatening a $750 fine. I don't, in that room, there was 15 people in that room. Nobody is hurt, and they were all realtors, so they all have tons and tons of people that they talk to on a regular basis that are homeowners and stuff. Nobody has ever received a fine from this. It is a Bend code. It's a Bend code that has always been around. They're just sending a letter out, kind of freaking people out about it. Yeah. Because of the LA fires. So, I would correlate this kind of similarly to the snow shoveling on the sidewalks. Yeah. Like, they remind people every year when we get a lot of snow, there's some sort of news article that comes out on KTVZ or Central Oregon Daily or whatever, and they're like, hey, be sure to shovel your sidewalks. We might fine you. Yeah. Have you ever known anybody that's been fined? No. But I'm not saying it's not going to happen. There is that person that is paid by the city to probably drive around and do that job. I think a lot of people just forget that, especially if you have like a corner lot or you have a sidewalk on the backside of your property or something. Like, you are responsible for all the portions of sidewalks that butt up to your property. And also trimming on the other side of the fence for that sidewalk, that kind of stuff. I mean, people just forget. Yeah. But there's also things there that talk about, you can't have a tree within 5 feet of your house. And there's stuff in there that, trim tree limbs to be no lower than 5 feet from the ground. Or what does it say? There's a few things in there that, first of all, seem like they're in direct contradiction to the Bend Tree Code. Yeah. Which doesn't make a lot of sense, which we've talked about a little bit before. But then also, it's just some of the things are like, it also talks about vegetation, flammable vegetation. It's like, well, what's flammable? It's all flammable.
It's all flammable.
So does that mean we need to reduce everything? And so it's raised some questions and it's raised some concerns. Ultimately, I don't think that it's something that is I think this is just kind of a hot button topic of the day, and it'll eventually fade away. They have to check it off their to-do list. Yeah. We told everybody. Yeah. I think it's good, though. I think people should. Right. 20-foot fuel break. Yeah, that's a long ways from a house. Yeah. If it's 20 feet away, how do you have trees on a lot? So, anyway. With our backyards. Right, exactly. Some people don't even have a 20-foot. All right, let's talk about the Jackstraw. Now, the Jackstraw is a massive, maybe I've got some stats right here. It's over by the box factory. They've been building it now for a couple of years. Even our kids are like, we drive by and they're just all like, is that building ever going to get finished? I was like, to an 8-year-old. Yeah. They've been building that thing for a long time. Yeah. Yes. $10 million in tax break, 0 cheap rents. However, is Ben's Jackstraw, the luxury Trojan horse, supposed to... That is a really... Supposed to tame our housing... It's supposed to tame our housing crisis. How is it going to do that? Good question. The 7-story Jackstraw project will deliver 313 upscale apartments and 17... This is funny how this is written. 17 kilometer square feet of retail on the box factory block, thanks to a 10-year, $10 million tax break the city council approved. Whew. The city staff argued that the sheer volume will loosen the market. Sheer volume of these upscale condos and apartments are going to loosen vacancy. I don't know about that. These things are going to be fairly expensive. And look, 20
rents start around $3,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wonder if that's like for a studio or is that a 2-bedroom? I mean, the location is great. I think a lot of people would find that very appealing to be in that location. But it kind of goes into that whole thing is like, I don't have one person asking for a condo.
I know.
I don't have one person asking for any kind of
condos like that.
Anything like that.
Exactly. So we'll see. The developers and the city really think that this is going to loosen up some of the housing crisis that we have here, even though they're going to be fairly luxury style condos. They're going to be fairly expensive. They just think that it's going to kind of ease the burden on everything else, which again, that's a really interesting take. I don't know that that's necessarily true. A lot of the condo units that you and I see that we don't sell a lot because nobody really wants them. But a lot of the ones that are in the area still don't sell. Yeah. They sit there.
They struggle to sell.
The ones over here on Empire, oh my gosh.
Well, those have their own issues.
They've been sitting there forever. So it's just kind of interesting. I don't know why they think this is going to be a good thing. I mean, it'll be a good thing for somebody. Somebody's going to buy them. Somebody's going to like it. But I don't know that it's necessarily going to help stabilize rents in the area. So
I think there's a lot of vacancy right now with apartments in general. I mean, you're seeing a lot of discounts and stuff for apartments. At least, I've seen it, especially over off of Empire and stuff. Those apartments are like 3 months free, or
yeah.
We'll waive your deposit.
What's
blah,
it called
blah,
over
blah.
there? We're too tired today.
I am so tired.
All right.
Easter is a rough go.
Let's move on to our next story. Ooh, we're getting a new Northeast Bend roundabout.
Oh, man.
Traffic roulette.
All traffic problems are solved by a roundabout.
3-month shutdown for Deschutes Market and Yeoman roundabout. Is it going to be progress or pure gridlock?
I think that's actually... Deschutes Market Road has become incredibly busy since the new bypass, all rigmarole, like how they have people entering in town from Redmond. And there is way more volume. I would like to see the stats of before that bypass change and to now, how much more influx that has pushed people to go onto Deschutes Market.
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
I personally don't think that roundabout... And I'm sure they have stats to prove that we need this roundabout for maybe the future, because with Petrosa getting bigger, that's going to help people get out of Petrosa and get into town quicker. But instead of using the new Empire punch through all the way up to 15th, 27th. And so I just don't think we need it now. And if you're going to shut down Deschutes Market Road for 3 months?
Actually, beginning April 14th and running into July.
That is awful.
Yep. The Deschutes Market Road, Yeoman Road.
We have a lot of construction going on through town right now.
This is always this time in spring.
I know, but it just seems like a lot, and it's some major arterial roads.
The city of Bend is able to. There's always road construction this time of year because it's just warm enough to get to the construction side of things without being frozen or snowed on. But it's just before the summer crazy rush of people coming into town, so they try to get it done at this time of year. A lot of times you're right. These things will bleed all the way into the summer, but at least it's like the best time that they have. So Deschutes Market Road and Yeoman Road, it's right in the corner there of the dog park. If you're familiar with the dog park at Pine Nursery, it's right on that corner. It's going to be barricaded while crews carve a new 2-lane roundabout tied to the Petrosa.
2-lane?
Where it's tied to the Petrosa mega development right there where the apartment complex is. Detours push drivers south to Butler Market via Hamhook, adding 10 plus minutes at peak times. City officials say the multi-million-dollar upgrade is step one in making Yeoman a full collector corridor from 18th Street to Butler, ultimately relieving the Cooley Empire bottlenecks like you just mentioned. I think they're actually going to push another road through some of that too, which is interesting. I remember hearing something about that. They may push a road from Yeoman to Deschutes Market all the way back through to the Parkway, just north of everything, north of Cooley, right? It's going to tie in back behind. Actually, yeah, I think it'll tie in back behind the new Juniper Ridge area.
Yeah, so it would go back by, what is that, JJ Ranch or something like that, behind there, go past Scottsdale.
Yep.
And Old Deschutes. Oh.
I think that's what
that would be interesting.
And this is kind of like planning ahead of time for that, perhaps. So, all right. Next story
I think
up.
we need Wells Acres Roundabout sooner.
Wells Acres Roundabout sooner?
Yeah, versus that one.
Oh, well, we're getting that one too.
I know, but I think we need that one first. Before.
Wells Acres and Butler Market, that we're going to get a roundabout coming there too. We'll be talking about that one at some point, I'm sure. So, all right, let's talk to our next story. This is kind of the hot button item as far as I'm concerned. What I think, I've got some pretty strong views in this, but they might be a little revealing. City of Bend plans to nearly double the transportation fee on homes, and second phase set to begin this summer. Now, what is the transportation fee? So for a long time, the City of Bend, again, this comes back to my government affairs thing. For a long time, the City of Bend, the Bend City Council, has been trying to figure out how to not tax isn't the word. They don't want me to say tax. How to find more money for roads. Okay, we need more dollars for roads, and they've proposed taxes, which the city has voted down, or the people have voted down numerous times. They proposed all kinds of different things, and so last year the city council didn't put anything to vote. They just implemented a fee, and it's a fee. It's a utility fee. It's added to your electric bill. The first phase was $5. It's not exactly, the numbers aren't. This isn't exactly right, but it's $5 for year one. Then they add $5 to year two. Then they add $5 to year three. So like by the end of it, by year three, we're paying $15 on top of your power bill. And they take all those $15 and all those $15. They take all that money and they're putting it towards a road fund. Okay. Last year it went up It started at $5. So like I said, it's not here are the exact numbers. It went at $5.60. Last year it added on in like July, I think. So everybody saw $5.60 added to their power bill last July. It's going to fund the roads. This year it's going up to $10.50. Next year it goes up to like $16. So they say it's on track to generate $5 million for this year. And then next year they're going to generate $10 million. Then I would assume the year after that it's going to go up to $15 million per year that they're generating in revenue to fix our roads. What's your reaction to that?
I would like to see their transportation budget and where all their money is going to, because it just seems like, I think with any business, you have to work within your budget, and I think they need to reevaluate what they're spending their things on. But that's just my opinion, and everybody uses roads, and so unless you are paying an electric bill, you're the only one that is partaking in this, which I don't necessarily think is necessarily very fair to the people that are renting or homeowners.
Well, a lot of times renters do pay power bills unless they're tied to some sort of
but those are the only people that are paying for these roads and taking on this fee.
Yeah. Well,
tax.
So the city has historically relied on the gas tax to pay for street operations and maintenance. However, the more Teslas you see running around, the fewer revenue, the less revenue that the city is gaining.
Don't just blame it on the Teslas. There's Rivians too, and there's Kias and Hyundais and Hondas.
Ford electric trucks. That's right. Lightnings.
All those Lightnings.
But it is interesting, right? It's like you think you've got a plan and it's going to be a gas tax, and they've proposed higher gas taxes. And we've shut that down. The voters have said, no. I agree with you. I would like to see, the whole budget. And they do things all the time like Last year, a couple years ago, I remember a story about the city. They put a fire levy on the. Like we need more money for our firemen and stuff like that. They don't have money in their budget, and so they put it to a vote, and it passed. And then later, we find out that they did have a chunk of revenue coming from the city. A big chunk of their budget came from the city, but they just erased it, and they moved all that budget and they moved it somewhere else where they needed it. And then they went and used firemen as kind of a proxy for like, oh, we need to give them more money. Well, they had money. You just took it away from them. You took it away from them. You moved it somewhere else in your budget. And then you used the people, kind of the whole...
We need this money again.
We need this money for these firefighters, which everyone was like, of course we're going to vote for the fire. We're going to vote our money, our hard-earned dollars for the firefighters. That's super important. So I don't know. It's interesting. Obviously, something had to happen because they're claiming that they need money for transportation and stuff, and that's fine. But it wasn't like a little increase.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and utility costs have gone up anyways, and so now it's just an additional cost that's making your bills higher, and which things are just tight.
Yeah, and then the other thing that really drives me nuts is that out of one side of their mouth they'll say that we need to increase. This is added to your utility bill. Right? And then this goes back to the power conversation. So we're making our power bills more expensive. Well, last week we talked about an article that where the city was going, or the city and state was going to the power companies going, hey, you got to give the people a break. You can't up your power rate so much. Well, you guys up the power bill by $5 and now by $10 every single month. $10 a month. It's like,
that's a lot of money.
On everybody to the tune of now $10 million next year. It'll be coming in revenue. Yet you're saying that the power bill should be cheaper for everybody, and you're going to the power company saying you guys need to make this cheaper. Well, they're the actual company. I mean, like they're the company that's providing the power. They can charge whatever they need to charge. You're also asking them to produce more clean energy. So please produce clean energy. We're telling you to produce more clean energy, and the power company says, okay, but we got to raise the fees because it's more expensive to produce clean energy. And they say, no, you can't raise the fees to produce clean energy. You got to keep the fees low. And then they say, oh, by the way, we're going to increase the tax on their, on the fees. It's what a crazy world.
Yeah.
How much back and forth can there possibly be on the whole power thing? It just goes back and forth all the time. I cannot even believe it. Last story. Bend gearing towards new permanent shareable e-bike program. Now, did you know that the scooters that have been around for the last 2 years or 3 years or whatever it was, that was a pilot program?
I think I knew that, yeah. I think it's funny because like the kids will be driving around and it's like, where's the most random place we find one of these bikes? And I know there was people like pranking and stuff like that, but like when you see them on top of buildings, like it's just really kind of funny. I feel bad because they're very expensive and somebody has to go fetch those bikes, but it is very random where you find them. Yeah. Like you'll be hiking and there's an e-bike.
Yeah, out in the middle of the woods.
Like, I'll just take this back.
Or like on a rock somewhere in the middle of the Deschutes River. Yeah. It's like, how do they even get it out there? Yeah. The most random places they're putting these scooters.
Bikes.
Right, so let's go back. Yeah. For those of you who aren't familiar, there was a 2-year pilot program, and they had all of these scooters.
Bikes.
Well, were they bikes?
Yes,
were they actually bikes?
Yes.
Oh, okay. They're actually bikes. Anyway, these electric bikes. And so the idea was you jump on one, you pay with a credit card, and you can zoom around all over town, and then you park it, and then you just leave.
And just leave it. You can leave it wherever you want.
You can leave it wherever you want. And so people would leave them intentionally in the goofiest places.
Oh, yeah.
The absolute goofiest places. And it was a lot of fun when you're driving through town and you see one just in these random spots, right? Well, that was a pilot program. And so now it was a test for 2 years to see how it worked. They're again, we talked about this before. They're trying to encourage other forms of transportation around the city besides cars. And so now they're getting ready to bring back the rentable e-bikes, and this time for good.
Oh, so people used them.
Apparently people used them enough. According to their study, this was a viable thing, and so now they're going to continue to do this.
Which I think is a lot of fun. Oh, wait, here we go. It says that, total rides dropped from
Mark says that while total rides dropped from 25,000 rides in 2022 to 15,000 in 2024, it was still a large enough number to show that the council how many bikes are being used and what adjustments need to be made for this more permanent program. So now, taking what they've learned from the 2-year program, they're now going to do it again. Now, here's the thing. It's not going to be Bird. It's going to be a different company, and they're going to be different kinds of bikes because Bird actually filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Which is another wild thing.
Well, you see them everywhere, and I can't imagine the repair costs. Like people were not necessarily that nice to them.
Yeah.
A lot of people were not happy with them, too, because people would end up with one of these bikes in their front yard, and it's like, why is that there? But I think it's really great for like people that are, coming to the city and, they need to get from downtown to the old mill and they just want to take one of those bikes. I think that's great. But I'm just wondering what color they're going to be in. It's like an Easter egg hunt. Exactly. Where are these bikes?
Yep. Staff cite the pilot's 170,000 trips and a 42% car trip replacement rate. Wow. I don't know about that. They're saying that 42% of car trips were replaced by these bikes. Proof that the micromobility cuts congestion. While bike advocacy group Bend Bikes is lobbying for equity incentives, free unlocks, low income passes, and tighter speed governor limits downtown. Tighter speed, that would probably be good because when those things zip by, holy smoke, someone's going to get hurt. Expect a council vote in May. Oh, interesting. To make this permanent, just in time for summer tourism gridlock. That's right. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so that's really interesting. So we are going to get the return of these e-bikes. And you're right. I am curious to see what color they are. I would imagine that
I always see them everywhere. I never see anybody actually riding them, though. But they get to these places. They
have to be. And then, of course,
think it's like the 2 a.m. drunk guy leaving the bar, and he's like, I'm going to take this bike, and I'm going to leave it.
Well, I do think it's kind of cool because it is going to bring a different diversity of transportation to the area. And I think that that's probably ultimately what the city is looking for. And as long as people are using it, I'm good with it. I'm in favor of it. It does make a much easier way to get around, especially in Bend. Bend is a super small town. And it's very tight. And if you're anywhere in that kind of downtown-y core area at all, you can get pretty much anywhere in just a minute. And even if you're on a bike, it's going to be really, really effective. So hopefully those things stick around. Can you imagine? I bet the city's got some sort of GPS on all of them. Oh, yeah. So you've got one like way out in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, how did it get out there? Yeah, how did it even get out there? Like they must have put it on a truck. I can imagine the games and the stories.
This one's going too fast. It's not.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be really funny. All right. Well, those are your news stories for today. Those are what's interesting, what's intriguing, what we see coming down the pipe. I think it's really cool. We were also just nominated. I didn't bring the story up, but we're also just nominated in the top 50 nationwide as one of the most charming small towns in America. Charming. Yeah. Aww. I thought that was pretty cool. That is cool. Not unheard of, though, and not unusual. We're always ranking. We know we're charming. Hey, guys, thanks so much for listening. Sorry we were a little out of it today. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you over in the next episode. And as always, if you know somebody who's looking to buy or sell here in the area, we would love to be your local real estate resource of choice. So thanks for watching, and we will see you over in the next one. Awesome.